Good morning, everybody. Here is your last recorded lesson for the school year. I am going to go over a sample app project and also show you part of a book that we used for our app project called Enemy Pie. Also, make sure you check your schedule for the week. We have a couple things going on. We have a little end of the year party at 2 o'clock on Thursday, and then also you guys have a session with Mrs. Chi at 1 o'clock that day as well to talk about some things that are going to happen for your 6th grade year. So here is Enemy Pie. I hope you guys enjoy it, and then I'm going to show you the sample that you can use as kind of an example as you finish up your app project for this week. All right, here we go.
Today I'm going to read Enemy Pie, written by Derek Munson and illustrated by Tara Callahan King. It should have been a perfect summer. My dad helped me build the treehouse in the backyard. My sister was at camp for 3 whole weeks, and I was on the best baseball team in town. It should have been the perfect summer, but it wasn't. It was all good until Jeremy Ross moved into the neighborhood, right next door to my best friend Stanley. I did not want to meet Jeremy Ross. He laughed at me when he struck me out at the baseball game. He had a party on his trampoline. I wasn't even invited, but my best friend Stanley was. Jeremy Ross was the one and only person on my enemy list. I never even had an enemy list until he moved into the neighborhood. But as soon as he came along, I needed one. I hung it up in my treehouse, where Jeremy Ross was not allowed to go. Dad understood stuff like enemies. He told me that when he was my age, he had enemies too. But he knew a good way to get rid of them. I asked him to tell me how. Tell you how? I'll show you how, he said, and he pulled a really old recipe book off the kitchen shelf. And inside, there was a worn-out scrap of paper with faded writing. Dad held it up. He squinted at it. Enemy Pie, he said, satisfied. You may be wondering what exactly is in Enemy Pie. I was wondering too. But Dad said the recipe was so secret, he couldn't even tell me. I decided, and I begged him to tell me something. Anything. I'll tell you this, he said. Enemy Pie is the fastest known way to get rid of enemies. Of course, I got my mind working. What kind of things, disgusting things, would I put into a pie for an enemy? I brought Dad some weeds from the garden, but he just shook his head. I brought him earthworms and rocks, but he didn't think he needed those. I gave him the gum that I've been chewing on all morning. He gave it right back to me. I went out to play alone. I shot baskets until the ball got stuck up on the roof. I threw a boomerang, it never came back to me. And all the while, I listened to my dad chopping, stirring, and blending the ingredients of enemy pie. This would be a great summer after all. Enemy pie was going to be awful. I tried to imagine how horrible it must smell, or worse yet, what it was going to look like. But when I was in the backyard looking for ladybugs, I smelled something really, really good. And as far as I could tell, it was coming from our kitchen. I was a bit confused. I went in to ask my dad what was wrong. Enemy pie shouldn't smell this good. But Dad was smart. If enemy pie smelled bad, your enemy would never eat it, he said. I could tell he had made enemy pie before. The buzzer rang and Dad put on the oven mitt.
Okay, well that was a little teaser of Enemy Pie. If you want to hear the rest of the story, you can go to storylineonline.net, and you will see the book there. So now I'm going to finish up and give you an example of our app And you can use that as an example as you finish up for the week. So here we go. Okay, and here is the slideshow. We're going to look at something similar to what you guys should have. So we named our team Terrific Teachers, and again, the novel that we picked, well, it wasn't really a novel, but the story that we picked was Enemy Pie. The conflict within the novel was getting along with others and kind of making your enemy your friend. So that's the problem that we're going to solve for the main character, how to make your enemy your friend. The story was written in 2000. So what problem will your app try to solve for the main character? The app will solve the problem of how to be friends with your enemies. And how will the app help to solve this problem? You will be able to put in a description of why that person is your enemy, and the app will give you ideas of things to try to make them your friend. So here is the rough draft of our app. You'll be able to put in a description of your enemy, like maybe they call you names. You'll be able to put that in, and then it'll give you, things to try to deter that behavior. Or maybe you say, they pick on one of your other friends, and you'll put that in. So you'll put in a description. Then it's going to suggest activities that maybe you can do together, or maybe it'll list possible things you may have in common, and then you'll, go from there. You're going to be able to turn your biggest enemy into your best friend. And you're going to click here to begin your enemy transformation. So I hope that helped you guys a little bit, giving an example of what we want to see on your app as well. We'll be finishing these up tomorrow and Wednesday, and then be doing presentations on Thursday. So we'll see you then. Bye.